What's going on, you guys? Today is going to be a little bit different of a video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the exact method I use to get rid of my stubborn love handles and build a physique that gains you confidence. All right. So I want you guys to take notes as I'm going to be explaining step by step everything I did to go from the insecure, soft, skinny fat kid to the man that I am today, jacked and respected. All right. And I want you guys to watch through the entire video as I'm going to be dropping free gems all across. And towards the end, I'm going to be giving you guys a special offer. So watch the video, enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side. Alright guys, this is exactly how I went from skinny fat and insecure to lean, defined, and confident. I used to be your typical insecure guy who would scroll for hours and binge on junk food. I used to watch Netflix every single day before I went to bed. I would do it while eating chips, while eating chocolate because it was just something I liked and it really felt comfortable. I would scroll, watching TikTok, watching YouTube, just sitting on my bed for hours and hours and hours on end because I just didn't have anything going for me in life really. I didn't think about bettering my life. I just was stuck in that rabbit hole of doing the same things over and over and over. I would get home and, not work on anything to improve myself. I was just doing the same things and, not really thinking about the future. I also used to spend many hours playing soccer every single day of my life with hopes of making it professionally until I suffered a devastating hip injury that caused me to switch plans. So let me tell you guys a little bit about that. Growing up, I was very overweight, and at the age of 8, my doctors told me that I was very overweight and I had to start a sport. At first, I thought it was very rude and that you know it was just taken away from my childhood, but soon I realized that sport played a big part of my life. I found soccer, and ever since that day, I fell in love with the sport. I played it day in and day out, trying to improve my craft every single day. Went through many clubs, went through many coaches, and learned many things. And it got to the point where I knew I was very good and I had a potential to make it professionally one day. And yeah, unfortunately, I got injured, and those hopes were ruined, and I had to find another way. I had to find different plans for my life, but that played a big part of my childhood. Now the shocking thing is I used to be exactly just like you, feeling like you're meant for more, hating the person you're becoming and thinking everyone has it easier. And those days where I was just not doing much for my life, I knew I had the potential for so much more. I knew that, you know, I had the mentality for to one day make something big really happen, but I was just stuck, man. I hated the person that I saw in the mirror, the love handles. I was just skinny fat, no chest, no shoulders. It really disgusted me. And I gave the excuse that everyone had it easier, that not everyone went through the same injury that I went through, and their hopes of making it professionally being ruined. I thought I was the only individual that ever had to go through that. So that was my excuse, and I didn't take ownership, and I just blamed everything except where I should have been looking, and that is at myself. In case you don't know me, my name is Brian Diaz, and this is a little bit about my story. On April 6, 2021, my whole house caught on fire and I lost my childhood home. I had been living in this home for 15 years, and everything I knew was literally in that house. My whole everything was literally there, and I was sleeping, my parents were sleeping, my brother was sleeping, and the house caught on fire at about 3 in the morning. If it hadn't been for me, who woke up and smelled the smoke and went to my parents' room and asked my parents what's going on, who knows what would have happened. I probably couldn't even wouldn't even have been here, honestly. And it was really sad. The firefighters came after, and they told us that if we had been there for one more minute, we would have died from smoke in our lungs. The smoke was very poisonous, and we had already been there a few minutes. We didn't realize it because we were sleeping, but once we smelled it, it had already been a few moments since the fire had started, since the smoke was spreading around the house. So thank God that we were able to make it out safely. And, that was a big experience in my life that taught me many lessons. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone, and I wish none of you have to go through the same experience. Then on June 25th, 2023, I tore my hip and felt the worst pain of my life. 6 months later, I lost the ability to walk and had to get surgery to reposition my hip back in the right place. Yeah, man, the soccer dreams just got ruined with that hip injury, and it was really, really, really tough, right? It eventually got to the point where I couldn't walk, right? The doctors told me that I had to go to bed rest, and I listened to what they said because I had never experienced an injury in my life before. It felt really uncomfortable, and all I was experiencing was pain. So I thought maybe if I rested, then the pain would all go away. So basically, I stayed in my bed for a whole week, pretty much not doing anything. The only moments I would leave my bed were to go shower and to go eat using crutches because I didn't want to put any load on my body. And when I attempted to walk again without crutches after the week, I couldn't even walk. I had lost all my strength. My muscles were this big. My quads, which, 3 years of playing soccer had developed some quite definite muscle, right? They didn't even have anything. My arms were this size, even though they were never huge, but I had some muscle. I lost that as well. And it was very damaging because I had looked like someone who was literally just born again because I had the muscle of a baby, right? I didn't have anything at all. And it was very tough mentally because there was people my age who looked way better than me and that hadn't faced the same things, but deep down, I knew that I had to take key lessons away from this experience and not just blame my circumstances, but ultimately trust God's plan and wait for his timing for me to recover. Then I thank God that I found a doctor that found out what I really had and eventually got surgery. But throughout that year I went through 10 different doctors and none of them gave me a definite diagnosis, something that I had going on. They even one time said that I should go to a psychiatrist because I was making the pain all on my own. And I knew that wasn't true. I knew that eventually, I had the hope that eventually everything would be fixed, and it did. But so if some of you are going through that time where you're going through a struggle that is taking very long, and you don't know if there's another side, there always is. You just got to stay patient and wait for the right timing. Another thing was, I've gone through pain and losses no one should ever go through, but I'm grateful because I've learned many lessons. God revealed to me that his strongest soldiers endure the toughest battles and that I wasn't meant for average, but to make a huge impact. I always try to take the positive things out of situations. I've gone through many struggles, many losses, but what I've learned is that if you keep mourning over what already happened and over the struggles, then it's just making it worse because it already happened and really affect it's not really going to affect me right now because it ultimately already passed. So what I could do in that situation was take the positive outlook and prevent the same mistakes from happening in the future, and just making the best out of my situation, really. And this program is for those of you who are tired of looking in the mirror and seeing the lower stubborn belly fat no matter what gym or diet you try. This is for you. If you're sick of being treated like you're invisible and not worthy of respect, this is for you. If you're frustrated at seeing everyone being more joyful than you while you struggle with constant unconfidence, this is also for you. If you feel like you're weak and can't take control of your physical health due to a lack of accountability, this is also for you. This is not for those of you who are not willing to adjust your lifestyle to fit in the crucial habits needed to implement for this change to happen. This is not for you. If you're comfortable with staying average and don't really care about reaching your maximum potential, this is not for you. If you're not ready to let go of the unproductive and destructive mindset that you've been having for so long, this is not for you. And if you're always making excuses to justify your lack of effort and resilience, this is not for you. Let me tell you something. The truth is that achieving a lean physique isn't about endless bulking and cutting cycles, nor is it about the perfect workout plan. It's about having the support and accountability to prevent bad habits. Most people believe they need to spend hours in the gym daily or follow a restrictive meal plan, but that's just not true. There are so many people I see go to the gym for 3 hours, 3 hours and a half, just doing a bunch of chunk volume, bunch of reps, bunch of sets, and they look the same. They haven't changed since the moment I saw them. That's because they're wasting so much hours in the gym and not even pushing remotely near failure, really. And that's where the real muscle is built. You also don't need to be following the strictest meal plan ever. You just need to find something that works for you, and you can even, add your cheat meals so you can make it more sustainable and more of a long-term thing. You don't need to be eating chicken and rice every day for 7 times a week. You need balance and sustainability. One of the biggest mistakes I see people is overdoing it with the mentality and just overdoing it with everything. Working out 7 days a week is pretty much impossible for a lot of people, and it's just too strict, right? It's gonna make you quit after 3 weeks, quit after a month, maybe, because it's not something you can stick to long term. And chicken and rice every single day is it's very tough, and only bodybuilders really do that. But let me tell you something, you don't need to do that. You can make so much progress eating foods that you like. As you can see here, there's rice, eggs, and salmon. Then in the bottom left corner, there's rice, steak, vegetables, rice, and steak. And look how lean I am. And these are foods that I eat on a regular basis. So I'm telling you now that you can eat those exact same foods that you enjoy, and still make so much progress. You're focusing too much on specific tactics or cheat codes to reach your goal sooner, and not enough on building stronger habits. You should not be going into the gym thinking you're going to get the best physique ever, reveal your abs in just 3 weeks. This is the mentality that's been holding you back for so long, because good results take a time, really. Good results take a while, and if you're going into the gym expecting for your whole bad habits to change just in 3 weeks, then you're not going to be very very excited with the results, because you don't deserve it. Honestly, I'm here to tell you, if you've been living a lifestyle where for 3 4 years you were lazy, you didn't do anything, it wouldn't be fair for you to get a good physique in 3 weeks when there's people that's been putting in the work in the gym for about 5 years, right? It wouldn't be fair, and your body will prove it. Also, you should be thinking about this as a long-term goal, as a lifestyle, right? If you're starting the gym anyways to get healthier, to look better, then stop thinking about it as, getting it in 2 months, right? Think of it as something you can do for the rest of your life that's sustainable, that's going to keep you healthy, keep you active for the rest of your life, not just, doing it for 3 months, getting a decent body, quitting, then starting 2 years after, getting a decent body again, and then quitting. Think of it as doing it for the rest of your life, right? And really enjoying the process. Anyone can get lean, strong, and confident without cutting carbs and doing fasting, or, starving yourself for 2 days to drastically lose weight. I see so many people starving themselves, or, just not eating at all to lose weight. And yes, you will lose weight, but let me tell you something. You know what you also lose? You will not build muscle. You will lose all your muscle along the way. I see so many people, just try to go for the most aggressive deficit. And when they lose the fat, when they lose some weight, right, they don't even look happy with the results that they have. And it's because they've lost all the muscle that they had along the way. You should not be doing it so aggressively, as your body is just constantly fighting. It's constantly burning things inside of it. And your muscles are not going to stay the same that they were. So don't make this mistake. Something else that I wanted to touch on is, if you do a slighter deficit, you're going to keep the muscle. You're going to, make sure that you're retaining most of your strength, and that's just the ultimate best way to do it. A slight calorie deficit is not going to be too strict. It's going to allow you to stick to it long term, and you're going to enjoy the process. Don't look for cheat codes. Don't look for special tactics. It's mainly about consistency. Don't ultimately look for the magic plan, because there isn't any. Anyone can get lean as well. The most important thing is that consistency is what's on your mind. Don't think about it being everything perfect, because there is no perfect plan. There is no perfect diet. There is no perfect anything. It's just about sticking to it long term. It's about sticking to it long enough for your body to realize that you're giving it what it needs to change, and you're giving it what it needs to set up for success. But don't worry, after this video, everything will change. I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to. There is no such thing as genetics incapable of losing fat, or body not able to put on muscle. I am going to break down the system I have used in the last year that allows any man, regardless of his starting point, to achieve his ideal physique. And if you want that person to be you, I'll show you exactly. The first pillar is muscle building intensity. We're going to cover progressive overload to create a challenging stimulus in order for your body to grow week by week. This can either look by doing an extra rep, increasing the weight, or slowing the tempo. You should also make sure you're pushing every single set to failure, as those last reps are where growth is at. Second pillar is metabolic activation. Make sure you're hitting 10,000 steps every single day to burn more calories and allow more consumption of food while still losing fat. The more steps you walk, the more you're going to be allowed to eat, because ultimately you just have more room to fit in food that you like. Also, there's no need for intense cardio such as running, just a light intensity walk that keeps your body active. The third pillar is protein prioritization. Make sure you fuel muscle growth with protein mostly every single meal. I see so many people eating meals that don't even have protein, right? You're eating carbs and fats and you're missing the most essential macronutrient. Make sure that protein is in every single meal, as this reduces your insulin levels being spiked, and it just allows you to not have to, squish all the protein late at night, which is going to be hard because protein typically isn't the best tasting. And if you have to, push it all together at night, then you're likely to miss out and not actually hit the goal. So make sure you spread it out to the day evenly to make sure this doesn't happen to you. The next thing is make sure that you're hitting each macronutrient, not just protein. Carbs and fats are also important. So if you're missing one, then you're you're letting a part of your body not be recovered efficiently. Carbohydrates provide you energy to push through your workouts to the maximum intensity. Make sure you aren't skipping this before your workouts, because you need them to perform, to push the heaviest weight you've done before, and to really progressive overload properly. You need to eat carbs before your workouts, whether it's honey, rice cakes, rice, banana. Just make sure you're fueling with minimum 50 grams of carbs before the gym so you can really feel good and pushing that weight. The second thing is fats support hormones and allows your body to be balanced and stay healthy. You might be thinking, why would I eat fats if it's going to make me fat? And that's just not the case. That's not what fats are. Fats allow you not to get sick, allows you to regulate your hormones, and for your body to really just stay balanced and just well sustained overall. Don't think of it as, I'm just going to be putting on fat. Think of it as the more fats I eat, or as long as I hit my nutrients, the less sick I'll get and the more better I'll feel. The more consistent I'll be in the gym, because I won't get sick and my hormones would be just well in place. And the fourth pillar is mindset mastery. Execution beats perfection every single time. Eliminate overthinking, self doubt, and inconsistency. Instead, replace it with discipline, resilience, and repeatable habits. For the people who haven't made a finished transformation, the biggest thing I see is their mentality. They're usually less strict with themselves. They're usually more lenient, and they don't really believe in themselves. And in this transformation, the most important thing is up here. You have to know that results are not accidental. They're going to happen you putting in the work every single day. So eliminate the self-doubt. If I've done it, then so can you. That's how you can eliminate it, and just really understand that as long as you put in the work, anything in life can happen, right? You just gotta be willing to be consistent. When obstacles, struggles, or tribulations come, understand that it's part of the process and that you have to overcome it. No one else will for you, but just take the key lesson from there and grow stronger. Over the next few minutes, I am going to share with you 7 years of my athletic life and 2 years of bodybuilding experience that is broken down into a simple to follow system that any man can implement into his life to build a dream physique in less than just 120 days. The untapped potential is my method I built through my own trial and error. By dropping the ego and started pursuing the highest level of fitness and nutrition for the past 5 years to achieve the results I knew I deserved. Now I've decided to break it down all for you in this video so you can too. The first pillar, as I already said, is muscle building intensity. Many individuals get stuck in the 4x12 and the 3x15 rep range. They think that the more reps you do, the more your muscles will be stimulated, but that is just not correct. Typically, when you do these rep ranges, the way you're doing feels pretty easy. You're just going for those higher rep ranges because some physical trainer or your friends told you, but this is not the ideal way to build muscle. You want to be doing weight that is actually challenging between the 8 to 12 rep range. Let me ask you this question. Doing those other rep ranges, why does your body really have a reason to grow if the weight you're giving it is easy? Your body is designed perfectly to adapt to the difficulty of situations that you give it. So as long as you're pushing to failure with those 10 to 12 rep ranges, then that's how you're going to build muscle. Eliminate that rep range. It doesn't work and it's just giving you junk volume that you don't really need. Training to failure is what's going to give you the best results. I see so many people in the gym, they go in and once they feel a little burn, they quit their set. They don't push to failure. And how do you expect to again build muscle if you are not challenging your body for it to grow? um, this is going to be the best way for you to build muscle. Two sets, as long as they're to failure, is all you need for each muscle group. So make sure that you are not, you know, finishing your exercises, finishing your reps too quickly, and you at least tap into close to fatigue. The third thing is to grow and increase your performance as a natural, you must train with purpose and intention. Those people who take steroids, right, they don't have to, push to failure every single time because they're enhanced. They have things that are going to allow them to put on muscle regardless. But as a natural, as someone who's trying to stay healthy and not risk, other serious health side effects, then make sure you train with purpose and intention. This is healthier and it's gonna get you results that you want. You don't need to take enhancements to reach where you want to go. And just having a good nutrition and the correct workout program with the right strategies will get you what you want. You can lift 3 to 5 times a week for 45 to 60 minutes and still grow amounts of muscle and shred body fat, right? Many people again think that they have to go 7 days a week, which is not true. As long as you're going 3 to 5 days a week and you're doing what's right in those days, and you will see much more progress than you can imagine. All you need is one form of progressive overload. Giving you some examples, uh, like I already said, slowing down the tempo, doing an extra rep, and or increasing the weight. You don't have to do this every session, especially if you're in a deficit. This is going to be very, very difficult. Aim for a span of 2 weeks. This is going to give you 3 to 4 sessions where you hit that muscle group before progressive overloading, and you should be able to do this. It's going to feel good as well once you do it because getting stronger is a sign that you're building muscle, as muscle size and strength are very correlated. Remember that the muscle is stimulated in the gym, but it grows outside the gym. So make sure your nutrition is in check as well, as whatever you do in the gym, but you neglect it by not following the proper diet and just eating junk food, then you're not going to be very happy with the results, and your muscle's not going to grow as quickly as you'd like. And stick to the basics in the gym and really get good at them. I see many people doing fancy exercises now with this science-based lifting. There's many different forms of exercises you can do. My recommendation would be just to stick to the basics, master your form, and really get good at them. Make sure you do these exercises for a good amount of time, for in order for you to properly grow and to properly get good at the exercises, seeing you progress. This is going to show you that you're building muscle, because the more reps, the more strength, the more weight you're pushing is a sign that you're building muscle again. Metabolic activation. Walking 10K steps is one of the easiest ways that you're going to increase daily calorie burn without beating up your body. Make sure to spread out the steps evenly around the day, because it gets much harder when you have to crowd them all at night. Same thing with protein. Many people tend to, push these steps back into the day around 6 p.m., 7 p.m., because that's when they're less busy. And yes, that's true, but crunching all these steps is going to make it a nightmare, especially when you do it in a time span of about an hour. You're just going to have to walk pretty quickly. It's going to raise your heart rate, and it's just going to, just pretty much ruin your mindset, right? Ruin your mind, because it's something that is not sustainable. So my recommendation would be, wake up early, go for a little steps, and just really spread your steps out throughout the day. This is exactly what I do, and it's allowed me to stay consistent hitting 10K regularly, as you can see here. You know, 12,615. I've done this for a bunch of days in a row, and the reason I'm able to do this is because I spread it out evenly throughout the day. Because it's light intensity cardio, your body stays in a low stress state, meaning you burn more calories without draining your energy or recovery. This is great as it won't heavily affect your workouts, while going for a run will take much electrolytes out of you and make you feel weaker. Okay, many people think that, the more intense cardio is, the more fat you'll burn, and that's just not true. Walking is proven to be the best way that you can burn fat. And it's because it doesn't stress your body, right? It's pretty easy. Many people can do it. 10,000 steps is about 1 hour and a half of walking a day, and many people have the time to do that, especially if they're intentional and they make the best and productive time that they can. Running is gonna take a lot of electrolytes out of you and make you more likely to not be able to push to max intensity in the gym because you're more tired because your body is already fatigued and it doesn't have the recovery it needs for you to give it max intensity like you gave that run. When you move more throughout the day, your metabolism stays active while giving you more room to eat while still losing fat. Like I said, when you walk 10,000 steps, your metabolism boosts and it allows you to burn more calories. And for many of you who like to eat, you are able to eat more and still lose fat, right? Especially for those of you who like to eat, this is the best way to implement cheat meals because cheat meals are higher calories, but as long as you're hitting these steps, you can implement them 1 to 2 times a week. So the more steps you run, the more you're going to enjoy those cheat meals because you can just eat more. Instead of relying on extreme dieting or nonstop cardio, this is what's going to keep you consistent as it's sustainable and not crazy strict, which is why most people quit in the first place. Make your routine reasonable, right? Don't have the mentality of I'm going to go as hard as I can and burn my body and stress it as much as I can so I can see muscle growth. That doesn't work because consistency is what actually makes a result. It's not about going as hard as you can in a single session, it's about going as hard as you can in the long term. Okay, switch that mentality and think of it this way. Again, you don't have to go 7 days a week. You can go 3 to 5 days a week. You don't have to do extreme dieting. You can do 1 to 2 cheat meals and add your favorite sauces, add your favorite things to your food, as long as you're hitting your calorie goal effectively. So yeah, this is a long-term thing, not to quit after 3 weeks. So this is a mentality change that you will have to do. Protein prioritization. Muscle isn't built by training alone. It's built by fueling your body, correctly with enough protein throughout the day. That's why you've probably heard that 80% nutritious food and 20% enjoy yourself because any more than this means you leave gains on the table. You can enjoy yourself, but you also have to do it in moderation and restrict yourself. If you enjoy yourself more than 20%, you're likely leaving gains on the table because you can be packing on fat due to the amount of calories that you're eating and not enough protein, which will fuel the muscle and prevent you from, ultimately packing as much fat. As you can see here to the right, these are some foods that I eat on a regular basis: pasta and ground beef, fish, rice, ground beef, and eggs. I've stuck to this breakfast of rice, ground beef, and eggs for about 2 years now, and it's the best breakfast you can eat. Carbs from the rice, right? It allows you to have energy throughout the day, and just protein, right? You don't have to crunch it all at night. Just make sure you're spreading it throughout the day, and with the barbecue sauce, that adds flavor, so it's going to allow you to stay more consistent. Prioritizing protein in almost every meal gives your muscles what they need to recover faster, grow stronger, and avoid muscle loss. Ask yourself this: how do you expect your body to feel ready to give maximum effort the next day if you didn't give it the protein it needs to recover overnight and heal properly, right? This is why I'm telling you to eat protein in every meal because it's just going to be recovering your body every single after every single time you eat is going to be recovering, so you're going to be more recovered for the next day to give it max intensity, which is very important for muscle growth to happen. You can't go hard one day, then the next day take it lighter, and because you've already done 2 days, take the third day even lighter. No, you have to be able to push every single day very hard for your body to have a reason to grow, and by eating the protein that you need to, it's going to allow you to recover so you can feel more refreshed, so you can feel more relaxed for the workout to come. Hitting your daily protein target consistently puts your body in an environment where growth is not optional. It's expected. Your body will understand to use the protein for muscle building and not store it as fat, which is a problem you've been facing all these years. You might be eating protein a lot, maybe 200 grams, but if you're not stimulating your muscles for all this time that you haven't been stimulating your muscles correctly, you might be thinking, if I'm eating protein, why is my body not changing? And it's because your body has no reason to grow. All that protein is just going and being stored as extra fat. So now that you have the proper systems in place, you'll be able to use that protein effectively to fuel, to boost muscle growth and not turn it into fat instead. Protein comes first, but carbs and fats still matter. So yes, protein is the most important, but you need carbs to fuel high intensity training, and you need fats to support hormones and keep your body balanced and healthy. So make sure to spread each of them out correctly. I see so many people doing the keto diet, right? Neglecting carbs fully, and this is just not the way to go, guys. You need carbs to fuel your workouts effectively, whether it's, I already gave you some examples, but yes, don't neglect them because without carbs, you're going to feel very tired throughout the day. And it's been proven that with carbs, you're going to have maximum performance. And fats, again, they support your hormones, they keep your body balanced and prevent you from really staying sick. So staying sick can hold you back a lot. So as long as you prevent it as much as possible, then that's what fats can help you with. Fourth is mindset mastery. Execution, again, beats perfection every single time. Progress comes from action, not overthinking. Many people go into the gym overthinking what workouts they're going to do. You should already have a plan that is going to allow you to, properly implement strategies to progressive overload to push your failure, so you can guarantee muscle growth. Waiting for the perfect plan leads to hesitation, self doubt, and inconsistency that stalls results. There is no perfect or magic plan, just consistency, and get rid of the mentality of self doubt because anyone can make it happen as long as the work is put in. Replace overthinking with discipline, resilience, and progress, and it becomes repeatable instead of emotion. As you guys can see here, I journal, I read my Bible every single day. These are ways that I strengthen my mentality because they're not easy to do. It can get a little bit hard at times because it's not the most funnest thing ever, but I know that it's needed for wisdom. And this is exactly why I do it. And I would recommend you guys start doing these things as, it allows you to have a strong mindset when motivation is low, but, and it's going to allow you to, show up even when you don't feel like it. The last thing I wanted to touch on, and it's one of my favorite subjects, is to find pain and use it to your advantage, right? As I already shared, my house being caught on fire, my injury, there's many other mental health problems that I've gone through, right? I use those moments, right, as fuel to push to failure every single set to keep showing up. And the most good thing about this is that everyone has a different story. Everyone has gone through different struggles. So, that's your fuel that no one else has gone through. So make the most out of it. This if one day you feel like not going to the gym or not pushing to failure in a set, think of this moment that caused you great pain and use it to failure, use it to push every single time, and just not give up because this is something that has never happened to anyone, only to you. So, you have a unique experience. So yeah, get after it. The untapped potential method works for everyone. As you can see here on the left, this is me about a year after, my abs much more revealed, way more muscle being packed. And, it didn't just happen for me, but it also happened to my client Samuel. He started here in the first picture at 200 pounds. Then the next picture is about 170. You can see he's lost 30 pounds and still packed on a ton of muscle. You can also see his abs being revealed, and he's flexing. He's just more confident in the person he is becoming, and that's exactly what I want for all of you. Final picture, he is now here at 150. He kept all the muscle that he initially had. If you actually dive deep and really analyze strictly, I think he's actually even put on more muscle than he had at 200 pounds. So he's lost 50 pounds and he's also packed on more muscle. That's very hard, and not a lot of people do because they don't have the right system. They go too aggressively on their deficit and they just end up losing muscle. But Samu has not. You can see his bicep vein on his left arm as well, and he's just confident, right? This is the most important thing about fitness training: liking the person you're becoming, and finally not hiding in baggy clothes like I've done, like Samu did when he first started, right? So yeah, man. And then here, bottom left corner is my client Jamil. He started at 220. You can see there he was 201 after he ate two. So maybe he's at 199 without eating. And, it's only been 5 months. He's going to make much more progress. And yeah, man. Here's me giving him some motivation that he needs to keep dropping 1 pound per week as the progress is not done there. You have to keep going after it every week. Yes, we can congratulate and celebrate it, but the process and the work is not done. We have to get back to the lab and keep putting in the work. Then this is Sergey. Recently, when we started working together, his biggest problem was his mentality. He didn't think it was possible. He thought, it just wasn't for him. The gym wasn't for him. He'd already been doing it for a while, and there was no real physical change. But here I'm giving him a boost by telling him that mentality shift worked, and it really did because you know I saw many cases where he was saying, "I'm him. I'm gonna make it happen," and ultimately he had a good result. He had good changes. in terms of mentality habits and really understanding what foods he has to eat. So that's very important as well. Now that you understand exactly how this process works, you have two options. The first option is take what you learned in this video and try it on your own. However, what might happen is you'll possibly spend weeks, months, or even years trying to get dialed in just to ultimately fail and look like an embarrassment to your friends, family, or even girlfriend. If you've already been going to the gym or you haven't been going at all, you're not an expert, right? You've been putting in the work and you still see no results. What makes you think you're going to see change if you're not changing anything? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting the same results, right? This is not going to happen if you don't switch your plan. If you don't switch your method, then you're going to have the same results you're having as, again, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Or option two, you can guarantee your results using the untapped potential method. And let me show you how, right? The same way Samu, Jamil, Sergey, I had my other client Tyrese. They've lost so much pounds and revealed their abs, kept their muscle. The same way they've done it, I would love to help you too, and I will show you how along the way. I have an offer for you. If you're tired of looking in the mirror and seeing the lower stubborn belly fat, no matter what gym routine or diet you try, this is for you. If you're sick of being treated like you're invisible and not worthy of respect, this is for you. If you feel like you're weak and can't take control of your physical health due to a lack of accountability, this is for you. And if you want to build a body that commands respect without saying a word, walk into any room with complete confidence and become the man God made you to be, not average, but to make an impact and a difference in this world as He calls us to glorify our bodies like a temple. This is a way that you can do it. You can fix the skinny fat look and review your abs in 120 days without letting fitness take over your life. Let's make this transformation happen. Let's see the other side.